Hi guys, welcome to our channel and welcome to our first official YouTube video. So if you didn't know already, we're the two co-hosts of Let's Get Real the podcast. I'm Ashley.
And I'm Brenda.
And today we're going to be doing a video for you guys where we're just going to introduce ourselves pretty much by answering some questions that we have already pre-selected here.
So we have a bunch of questions in here, so we're just going to answer them, and then you guys can like know a little bit about us and those some interesting questions. All right, let's.
Who wants to pick first? You or me?
You go first.
Okay. Have you ever been friend zoned?
Ooh.
I have. In like, a couple years ago. It was like my last year of high school. I was really interested in this guy, honestly because he was good looking. I didn't know anything about him. And he wasn't that interested in me. So I got friend zoned, and he was an asshole about it though, because he did definitely lead me on, and then he like kind of like was very confrontational about it. He was such an asshole about it, and it made me feel dumb as fuck, and it was on my birthday.
Damn.
Yeah.
Your birthday.
Yeah. So yeah, I've been friend zoned.
Good to know. I didn't know that about you. Have you ever stolen anything? I have, like back like in high school when I didn't have like a proper job.
What'd you steal?
Nothing crazy. Like it would be like
Makeup?
little. No, not makeup, but like you know how like 7-Eleven has those little candy things, and like each one is 5 cents. Sometimes I'll put an extra 2 and like go and be like, ooh, I got away with it.
So like bulk barn.
Yeah, and then one time I stole something from Forever 21.
Ooh, what'd you steal?
Like jewelry, I think it was, like earrings. I remember one time I stole sunglasses.
Oh my god.
Yeah, but nothing like crazy, like no clothes, no shoes, nothing that I'm proud of course, because I do not do that anymore. I don't condone it.
Oh my god.
But yes, I did do that when I was younger.
Good thing you got that, because I've actually never stolen.
Really?
So my answer would have been dull as fuck, yeah. What was the thing that made you the most jealous in life?
Ooh.
Oh. Okay, so I used to do this thing where I'd introduce my friends to each other, and like they'd become way closer with each other than they were with me, and then they'd like push me out of the group. This would happen a lot. So I remember one time I introduced 2 of my like closest friends, and they're both individually like my best friends, and then when I introduced them, they ended up getting so close that they like the girl moved into her house. And yeah, and then they got like extremely close after they started living together, and then they just like stopped talking to me, and I don't know if they're friends to this day, but this has happened to me multiple times. Like for some reason I'm always just like pushed out of the group, and like they always like each other better. I know this hasn't happened in a few years, but it used to be like a big thing that to this day I like get nervous introducing my friends because of it, because like I had jealousy.
Like you're gonna be cut off the group.
Yeah, like I used to get so jealous, like so jealous.
The biggest risk you took in life? Ooh,
I don't think I know the answer to this.
I mean, biggest risks, I guess, one of them would be starting the podcast. Because if you know me, I'm not much of a public person.
What was risky about it though? Like what were you losing?
I mean, risking being more public, like losing my private life. I
yeah,
guess, you know, being more
Instagram's on public now.
Yeah, I put it public my whole life. It's been like, you know, private. So doing that, also like jobs, because I know that when I've been like going back and forth on jobs, it was like risking whether or not I'm gonna like it, or is this gonna be a bad choice. But I think more so the podcast, because it's the most recent, I guess. Like it's changed my life in the sense where now I'm being a little bit more public.
Yeah,
and that's
which
not
is so
something
weird
I'm
for
used
you.
to. Yeah, exactly.
Have you ever woken up to a complete stranger? I have, but not in like a one-night stand kind of way. It's such a dumb story. It was after prom. Oh, I hope he doesn't see this. It was after prom, and like we were all in different rooms, and the beds were like single beds or something.
Were you like drunk?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So was he. So there was 2 people in that bed. Yeah, it was such a weird night. 2 people in the bed. One guy was out cold. The other guy was the one that I was like hanging out with all through the night, and then we ended up like falling asleep cuddling. Oh my god, I really hope he doesn't watch this. We ended up falling asleep like cuddling, but like we didn't know each other. Like I know I'm saying after prom because it was high school, but we had never talked to each other in school in our entire lives, like ever. So it was very weird to like wake up and be sober and be like, oh, whoa, we're both still here. It was really weird. It was a little awkward, but yeah, that was like the only time next to a stranger, yeah.
They do say prom is like a crazy night, so. Yeah,
my friend ended up having relations with 3 different people that night, and I had to like pull her out the room butt naked. It was, no, 2 people.
Who is a better podcast host and why? Dun, dun, dun. Me, of course. No, joking.
Honestly, even if it is.
I feel like voice-wise, I feel like it is me. I feel like my voice sounds more natural, more real.
No, I feel like yours sounds more radio, like more
Really?
like more podcast, but in a good way.
I feel like yours sounds more mono, like not monotone, but
mine's-
you're always like very unenthusiastic voice.
Yours is good for podcast. 100% yours is good for podcast. I feel like mine sounds too real that it's like, is she falling asleep? Like, why does she sound like she's like out for coffee with a friend?
Yeah, I think in terms of the voice, it's me. But I think in terms of like you're more aware of things than I am. I feel like when it comes to certain things, I'm always like, oh wait, like I don't know. I feel like you always find out certain things about the podcast before I do. But in terms of the whole content itself, I feel like my voice is a little bit more engaging.
It is.
So.
It is, for sure. Craziest thing you've ever done.
Ooh.
Long story short, it's such a long story, but my friend at the time had pretty much co-signed on a vehicle, but she didn't realize that she was actually like the full like owner of the lease and the loan and everything, but turns out she didn't actually own the vehicle. She did it for her boyfriend, so she did this all for her boyfriend at the time. He broke up with her like a month later. She was so angry because the breakup was very messy, so she needed to get the car back. So I helped her steal the car back. Yeah, because we thought it was hers because she signed off on all the paperwork. So we thought it was hers. We called the police station, we called the bank that the lease was under, we called the freaking dealership that it was under, we called everyone. And we're like, whose car is this? Whose car is this? Everyone said the car was hers. But when push came to shove, we stole the vehicle. We parked outside his freaking apartment 4 nights in a row at 2 o'clock in the morning when he was sleeping to go get the car because she had the key to it. It was manual, so we had to find someone to drive manual for us.
Damn,
And we had to, yeah, it's a crazy story. And then we ended up having to go get the car on the 4th night. The car was finally there because the 3 first nights it wasn't there. The car was finally there. Stole the car, another guy drove it. And the next day, the police show up at her door and they're like, you have a stolen vehicle, where is it? And she said it's in my garage. Yeah, because turns out he's the owner of the vehicle, she's the owner of the lease. So if he's late on payments, if he doesn't make payments, it affects her credit. But the car is his car. So he's still driving around in it to this day.
That's shitty.
I know.
She got the loot, like the bad end of it.
She didn't read the paperwork, which sucks. But like it was a funny story. It was fun. Like one night we put on wigs and we like had to hide because if he saw us like stealing the car, like parking out, then it would have been bad. So we put wigs on. It was really fun.
Okay, my question is, did you ever steal a friend's man? No. No.
Good person.
No. I've had situations in which a friend and I both like the same person.
Yeah, those suck.
But it didn't really end up bad. It was just kind of like whoever he asks out, then that person gets with him. This was elementary school too, so it wasn't like anything serious.
Were you jealous of me? Was I jealous of her growing up, and if so, why?
Please do tell.
I don't know. I feel like I would have been jealous of like your relationships with like Andrea or like other people that.
Oh, I remember
like,
that one time.
Yeah, that when I felt like other people were closer to Brenda, because Brenda and I are pretty much the same age, we're a year apart.
Yeah.
And I feel like it was always like our older siblings and then her and I for a while. And then like other like cousins would like get in the picture and I'd be like, damn, they're taking up all the time. Like I would feel like she liked everyone better than me. But there was either that or maybe like when I felt, ooh, you know when you, Stephanie, and Jessica were living together, because I felt like I missed out on so much that at that time I wouldn't know. At that time I felt jealous because I was like, wow, like I'm really missing out on it. I had like severe FOMO. I felt like I just didn't know what they were talking about all the time and like I got jealous. So yeah, it was nothing intense, but I definitely felt jealous.
Who has the biggest success in dating? Ooh, well that's not a hard question. I feel like I do, only because I've been in the dating game for a little longer and
she's in a committed relationship.
I am in a committed relationship. 3 years, guys, 3 years. Well, it's gonna be 3 years.
Heartbroken.
So, but I mean, it's what I tell people. Usually your first relationships, it's very rare that it's like a committed one. Usually your first relationship I find is like not as committed. So you live and learn a lot in your first relationship. So I feel like your first relationship was your live and learn one.
Learning experience.
Yes. But I think, yeah, for sure me.
Yeah, I'll do that. Okay, well, you guys have gotten to know a little bit about us. If you like videos like this, let us know, and we might do some more, but don't think that this is a YouTube channel. This is more of like a podcast behind the scenes channel.
Yes.
But if there is stuff that you want to see, then we're happy
Maybe
to do it.
one time too, what we can do too is maybe like do a visual with the podcast.
And upload that.
Like, we're gonna wait to have a better setup.
Yeah, our setup is kind of ratchet right now. But once we have a nice setup, then we can do that. You guys can see our facial expressions. You guys can see what's happening behind the scenes. That'll be fun. But for now, if you're just finding us, Let's Get Real the podcast, Apple Podcast app, Spotify, Anchor FM, YouTube, and check us out on Instagram and Twitter. Everything's gonna be linked down below, so yeah.
Share, repost if you know anybody. Like, again, our podcasts are pretty interesting. It's different, like, there's different topics every day, so
they're very personal.
Yeah, so if there's something that you feel like you're listening to and like your friend or family can relate to, definitely share it, repost it. Again, it's easier to tell people something when it's not you saying it.
Exactly, because if they hear from someone else, they're gonna be like, oh, they're so right.
Yeah.
So if you have a friend that needs to know about red flags and dating or like self-love, then send that shit over to them and help your friend out.
Yes.
Don't be selfish. Okay, thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to check out our podcast and stay tuned for more from us.
Bye.